Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sideline Podcast. We're on episode 242. We got a jam-packed episode for you this week. Not only is not NFL, but NBA draft tomorrow, Tuesday. We're recording Monday night. We had a lot of NBA news to cover from the weekend. Trae Young, did he get his extension after declining a player option into his last year of his contract? We'll go over that. Plus, Mavs, do they have a new head coach? And the CJ McCollum, does he return to the Hawks? All questions that we have the answers for coming up soon. So with all that being said, guys, stay tuned. Jump right into this, guys. Biggest news over the weekend, Lawrence, or I guess even from the past couple of days, right? Trae Young declines his player option for the Wiz. There were some rumors that he's probably going back, but might shop his services elsewhere. Came out today. He is indeed re-signing with the Wiz. 4 years, $212 million. I think average annual value is going to be about $52 million. Definitely, hey, a lot bigger of a deal than I thought he was worth. I thought he might get 3 for 120. I know what Wendy the other day said that he was going to get a 3-year deal. They ended up at a 4-year deal here. I guess, this means one or two things, right? Like the Wiz probably aren't going to trade that pick, right? They're probably going to draft AJ with the number 1 pick tomorrow. And number 2, looks like Trae is stuck there for at least a couple of years because that's a big number to kind of take on for any team. So what are your thoughts, Lawrence, when you first heard about this?
Well, I don't know. I kind of thought that anywhere around 50 million is like hit or miss. It's like right about where you want to be, but maybe a little bit more than you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I don't know. Maybe this is coming from a Carolina Panther fan. When you're a bad team, sometimes you got to overpay a little bit. And I don't see them paying him $3 extra million because it's $53 million. And like the first couple years are going to be backlogged anyways. I think like they said the first year he's making like 41, the next year he's making like 46, the next one's like 53, and the other one's like 59. So like then the last one is a player option too. So at that point there's probably a way in that contract as well. There's probably a way to get out of the contract, or you kind of know what you are because that's 4 years down the line, so you know whether or not you want to keep this going or not. But honestly, I don't see it being all that crazy or in my opinion, all that bad. I mean, like I said, you're not a good team. Bad teams have to pay the bad team tax, and aka the bad team tax means you could barely win. What did they win? Like
17 last year.
Yeah, so you couldn't even make it to 20. You couldn't even make it to 20 wins.
Yeah.
For someone who has made it to the playoffs, and like we were talking about De'Aaron Fox, like in this last postseason, De'Aaron Fox looked bad when it came to the finals. He didn't put it all together, and we kind of protrude that because he's never made a deep run with the Sacramento Kings, and you paid that guy all that money to never have gotten any proven value in deep playoff runs, or he pushed his team like further, or been the needle that's changing everything. Like that wasn't De'Aaron Fox. Man also doesn't shoot good threes, and had that man shooting a bunch of threes at the end. But what I'm trying to say is like Trae Young, I think it was like a couple years ago, took out the Knicks almost by himself. Trae Young literally has people in New York City with nightmares about what he did. So, yeah, I mean, you have to pay an extra, $20 million, or sorry, the extra $3 million, so an extra $12 million over 4 years just to have someone who's serviceable that's going to, I would probably say, not just leave you in the middle of a playoff run, deep in there and just go ghost. I think this is a perfect move. Do I think it's a lot of money? Yeah. Do I think he deserved all that money? Borderline. But like I said, like as a Panthers fan, I understand. You're a bad team. Bad teams overpay. You don't have a choice. But these are the costs you have to pay in order to get good. And Trae Young is good enough to lead a franchise. He's already done it before. Now, when I say that the Hawks were ever amazing when he was there, maybe like a year or two, but never like consistently amazing. Yeah. But we saw a statistic the other day that the Hawks were like in the last 20 years are like perfect at being average, like legitimately perfect at being average. And if we think about it, the Hawks have never really had, outstanding teams outside of the years that they had Trae Young. So there is a big gap, because I remember they had, what was it, like 2015 or 2016, they made some crazy run that nobody expected. They were like the first seed in the East, and then they just floundered out in the playoffs, like because they just didn't have it. And then ever since then, they were consistently a threat in the East. People thought maybe there's a chance they could make some noise every single year. So yeah, I mean, that's what you're paying for. You're paying for someone to keep you in the news. I would probably say that. You're paying for someone to keep you in the news, keep you relevant, keep the other team up at night knowing that they're going to have to go and game plan against them. Because one flaw I would say with Anthony Davis is there are a lot of teams who don't have to fear what he's going to bring to the table the next time around, because, well, let's face it, they probably don't even know if he's going to suit up the next
if he's going to play. Yeah.
This guy, Trae Young, is going to go out there and play unless he just simply can't. And we never saw him not able to perform many times when he was at the Hawks. I mean, that man suited up any needs necessary. So I like it. It's just unfortunately one of those things that you have to do. If you want to get better and you want to be better, you got to pay this tax. It's the poor team tax, or the bad team tax.
Yeah, no, I agree. When you lay it out like that, right, you got to maybe overpay for a guy, especially when you're the Wizards. Like I said, you've been bad for the past 3-4 years. You barely can win 20 games. Like, you got to pay that tax. So from that standpoint, I agree with you, Lawrence. I just think it's a little rich for me, but at least they got, for the this current build, they got a point guard for the future. Trae Young is still young. I think he's like maybe 27, 28. So it's not like you're getting an old guy. You're getting a guy in the middle of his prime, 20-10 guy. Like, you at the bare minimum, you're getting that. You can facilitate. He'll be a great, mentor and kind of quarterback for the team. They got a bunch of young guys who don't have his experience. I think it's beneficial both ways. I think it's a good deal for both sides. I just, towards the back half of that contract, I don't know. I don't think I like what damn near $60 million in year 4 if he decides
I will
to
say
take that option.
The back half is what also got me, because I kind of thought you would front load the contract. It would be more on the front side
and then decline,
because that's kind of because that's kind of when you need the production now. And if there is a way to move all of them or like go somewhere else or reposition yourself, you can. And at that point, you would think that your guys have developed enough to be able to do that. When you backload it, I guess we're rewarding him on the back end for what he's going to provide to us at the beginning. I don't know. I don't know. That to me kind of just seems like you don't know what the value of your players that you do have are going to be. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of making yourself a safety net.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the thinking of Michael Winger and Will Dawkins, what they were thinking there, but typically they do the declining stuff. They did it for Denny. They did it for Kuzma. So I'm not too sure why they didn't do it here, like you said. I don't know. But AD's up for extension. Reports came out today he wants a max extension, so we'll see if they come to some sort of similar deal with him or do they ship him out. And, of course, they got to draft, either AJ or Peterson tomorrow. So we will see what else the Wiz have up in their sleeves. But Trae's former team, Lawrence, the Hawks, made a little bit of, I would say some little splashes past couple of days. Not only re-signing CJ to a 1-year, $21 million extension, but Also trading for Wiggins. So the Thunder need to offload some salary. They did it at the expense of 2 second-round picks. So Atlanta gets a good rotation piece, right? He can start if needed. He's started for Thunder, so he has some starting experience, but probably a sixth or seventh man. And Thunder gets some picks, so hey, keep the pick drawer accumulated, keep it pretty full. So, any thoughts on this, Lawrence? I like CJ going back for 1 year, but honestly, I was surprised it was a multi-year, or maybe he would have waited till free agency, because I was actually pretty interested to see what he would get on the open market.
I don't know. I feel like CJ is one of those guys where I think he's comfortable being places, and comfortable not leaving places.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere he's gone, he's kind of stayed, or he's kind of made a nice home for himself. And I think that just goes to the kind of player that he is. Like CJ McCollum is easily one of those guys that you can build around or structure around, and you don't have to dump all your assets to do it. Or like we were kind of saying with Trae Young, like the guy's going to play any moment he can.
Yep.
Legitimately, the only thing that took him out one season is because didn't he have like a heart problem or something? I don't know.
He might have tore his Achilles 1 year too.
Yeah, I know it wasn't that though. I remember it was some kind of like
it was something
internal,
big. Yeah,
it was some kind of internal organ problem that took him out for a year. But I mean, outside of that dude still came back and played that same season. So I mean, for him, I kind of think that CJ wants to win, and I think CJ knows that. I think he believes. I don't know that he knows. I think he believes that it is easier to win places when you give the organization some time, and you allow them to help build around what they have. And like I said, he's one of those inexpensive pieces. I mean, I'm not saying he's dead cheap or anything. He's not dead cheap, but he's pretty inexpensive for a starting shooting guard salary.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what you're going to get every single day. I think that's one big thing that I guess a lot of players don't know or don't look at is like the inherent value you have when you're able to suit up game in, game out every single night. Like that is so like valuable because there's so many ADs out there, and there's just so many players you don't know who they're gonna suit up and play every single night. I kind of believe that is also one of the reasons why it was so foolish of the Mavericks to have gotten rid of Luka Doncic. And it's like that dude's playing every single night. Like this is like at the end of the day, this is the guy that's going to leave everything out there for you. Now, I don't think he kind of kept that same mannerisms at the Lakers. I just think it's probably because he doesn't like it there. But like, those are essential pieces to build if you want to win. And personally, I think that is gonna have set the Mavs back. I wouldn't say decades. That's obviously extreme, but like we're talking seriously years of setback because you got rid of a good player in his, I'm not going to say prime. I don't know. I feel like his prime could still be ahead of him. He's still young enough. But you got rid of a good player right when he was getting real good for a piece that's already left you. Yep. For a piece that's already left you. I think that's what the Hawks are looking at. Like CJ McCollum's never just going to up and leave him. He's not. He likes being in a place that he feels like he's home. I think he had that in Portland until Portland decided we're going to blow it all up. We're not just going to blow up a little bit. And you've seen where that has come. I mean, finally made it back to playoffs this year, but we're not competitive really in some of those games in the playoffs and allowed big blown leads in the playoff.
Yeah, we'll see what the moves they have, but I do like CJ coming back, and I think adding Wiggins just increases their depth. They definitely needed that, but they got some other decisions. They got to see if they're going to pick up Kuminga. I think Kuminga has a team option, so we'll see if they pick up his team option here coming up I think they got a deadline to meet before free agency starts. So Atlanta got a lot of things they still have to figure out there. To the Mavericks, though, we got the hiring Dusty May, the Michigan coach who just won the Natty with Michigan. He's going to be their new head coach, and I think Michigan already has someone in line for the interim coach. What's this guy's name? Mike Boynton
Michael
Jr.
Boynton, yeah.
Yeah, previously from Oklahoma State. So not only the Mavs making moves, but Michigan's making moves. How do you like this hire for the Mavs, Lawrence?
He must have some kind of I wouldn't say proven knowledge, but he's got to have some kind of track record. And they're gonna just bring him in and try to, I wouldn't say blow it up, but start over and start new and fresh. I guess one thing we can say about him is he did draft Cade Cunningham. I mean, that is something that he did at Oklahoma State. So he has an eye for talent. I'm talking about Boykin there. But for Dusty Mays, he's always had good Michigan teams, and Michigan's always pretty well translated to, decent talent in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like he's been coaching. I don't know. It's not like a Brad Stevens when he went to the Celtics and he became the head coach, and then a few years later became sitting president for the Celtics.
The Celtics, yeah.
I mean, that guy was the coach of Butler, and I know that Butler, isn't anything like awful or trash. Like he kind of brought Butler out of the gutter again, from what they were.
This is true,
but I don't know. It's a little bit of a bigger low. Like this guy, I mean, I'm not going to say that college basketball is better than NBA because it's not. But this guy, on a night in, night out basis, had to go against the best of the best in the Big Ten. There are other good conferences, but the Big Ten, for what it's worth, is damn near the best conference in college basketball. And the difference between the NBA and college basketball, which I think might hurt him, is that players in college basketball will play for you and die for you night in and night out because everything for their future rides on every single game. Now, you cannot – the NBA players are not going to have that same mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take a game off just because we're down by 20 in the regular season. Fuck that. I'm not going to go balls to the wall anymore. We're already lost. And, no offense, but the Knicks just did it like 3 times in the playoffs. Came back from, double-digit 20-point down in 1 games. So it can be done. I just don't see – I see that being his problem when he goes into the NBA because I feel like players are not going to play on a night-in, night-out basis as hard as they do in college. And that's simply because in college, if I want to go to the NBA, if I lose 3 games in 1 season, that hurts my stock a lot. You have no stock drop in the NBA. I already made it. Now, I do maybe view his how he's going to take his team probably a little bit differently. I doubt he builds the same way or builds around like teams do in the NBA nowadays. I could see him going after younger players. I'm going to target younger guys because they're going to have the mindset that he wants. And he's probably already started pretty well because the Mavs are going to be young for the next couple years anyways. Because they're constantly going to be in and out of the early picks. Cooper Flagg is young. So we're constantly going to be floating around the idea, but I don't know. I like the hire. He's obviously proven himself well at Michigan, and if you can win at Michigan, I don't see why you can't win in the NBA. Because college is harder. I would probably say night in, night out than the NBA, just because every little thing you do wrong will be scrutinized by a probably more cult-driven fan base. When I say cult-driven, I mean like it's not like NBA fans, man. They're gonna get over it like
Yeah,
one
because
or
they
two
got a
nights.
game the next day. They're not
Yeah,
really
they're
tripping
getting
off
over
it.
that shit.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, when George Mason does something dumbass, I'm gonna be talking about that shit for the next week and a half, 2 weeks, maybe a month, maybe a year.
And we do. And we do.
And we do. But like that's the difference between the NBA and and NBA and college. Like, he's not gonna have to worry about people up his ass because he lost a game against Iowa, and his he didn't call the timeout. He's got plenty of time to learn. I don't know. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm not worried about him. I think you're right there. I think he'll probably, work with Usai Ujiri to kind of get this roster a little bit younger. They're already talking about trading Gafford to try to move up in the draft tomorrow. So probably see a bigger shift to young pieces. They say they want to keep Kyrie, but I feel like every team says that. Look at the Celtics; they're floating out Jaylen Brown. They said they wouldn't do that before, right? So I feel like if the price is right, they probably move Kyrie and just really revamp this into maybe younger college level vibe, so that he can maybe get the hang of coaching in the NBA a little bit, make it a little bit easier for him. So I definitely see the Mavs doing that. Cooper Flag, I mean, he's legit. Build around him with some other young guys and kind of just make it like a little college system, even though you play in the NBA. So I definitely could see that. But I don't know. We'll see what the Mavs do. They do have they got the eighth or ninth pick. So they got a pretty decent pick. So I'm interested to see where they go with that and how much input he'll have into that, considering he just got hired today. So I don't know. We'll see.
I probably would say he probably has little to no input.
Yeah.
I think probably the first year, I think it's going to be between him and the athletic director, not athletic director. I'm thinking
GM.
college GM.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be between the GM and the president about what they're doing, because I don't think Dusty May. Sorry, you just got here right before the draft. You're coaching whatever I give you.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, maybe we'll talk about it when the season starts. But I think they're probably going to hit him with you're coaching with what I give you. You're lucky to be here, kind of thing. That's how they're going to approach him. And honestly, he probably won't even be mad about that, because if it fails the first year, he can just be like, this ain't the team I would have produced or I would have put on the field. And you know what? Petty. We want to see some petty stuff out of some people. I think more coaches should be more brave going into these pressers, or more brave, because I don't know, when you're a young coach coming in and a guy gives you crap, like he doesn't put anything on the field for you to do well. That ain't your fault for losing. It's just not.
Yeah. Also going on this weekend, we got the Suns making some re-signings. Re-signed Jordan Goodwin, one of their role players, 3 years, $19 million, and they re-signed Gillespie. I think he got like 50 mil or something like that. But
that's big, because they're running out of money then.
Yeah, so they're like right up against the apron. So I know they're kind of in a rebuild. Don't know if you really want to be paying the luxury tax if you're a bad team. So I'd be interested to see. And they still got to repay or attempt to re-sign Dylan Brooks, Lawrence. So I don't know what the Suns are going to do. They're like right up against the tax.
I think they're going to start trading pieces. Personally, I would probably start trading pieces.
Devin Booker, he changed his number from 1 to 15, so he's 1 to 15, his USA number. So
personally, I don't think Booker is ever leaving Phoenix. I think he's kind of solidified and locked himself in there. I think he's too rich with the fan base. I think he's built everything he wants to.
He is the Suns.
Yeah, he is the Suns.
Yeah.
That Colin Gillespie signing though for $50 million. Personally, I wouldn't be shocked if they moved him. I think he's a valuable trade piece. They barely use him. They start Grayson Allen over him the majority of the time, unless they are thinking about expanding and making him the point guard, like head point guard. I personally don't. I don't like. I personally do not like. What's his name? Devin Booker. Couldn't think of it for a second. I don't like Devin Booker at point guard.
No.
And according to that depth chart, he's a starting point guard. I think this adds more value, like what you were saying, like in other podcasts or other episodes. Jalen Green might get shipped this year. I don't know. I feel like that Colin Gillespie $50 million. That's a nice number. Like it doesn't feel like it's too much because we see what is possible out of the guy.
Yeah.
And I would say he's probably he is more of a homegrown talent out of them than someone like Jalen Green. And I don't know. Jalen Green never did a whole lot last year with the Phoenix Suns to even impress anybody.
He was hurt a lot too.
Maybe they decided because they traded and went all and did all that stuff just to get him, they're not going to move away from him. But I don't see this whole team sticking around as it is right now going into the next season. Someone's getting moved. I don't know who's getting moved, but you want to make that money work. Someone's getting canned, or someone's getting traded. Sorry, not canned.
Yeah, nah, someone's definitely getting moved. Who that person is? Well, I guess we'll find out because they're just too bad of a team to be in the tax, and they still got interest in re-signing Brooks. So someone's leaving. We just guess we'll find out in the next week or so. Last but not least, we got the NBA draft is tomorrow, Lawrence. The biggest question here, of course, is who the Wizards are taking at number one. Growing sentiment is it's going to be AJ DeBonza from BYU. From the jump, when they were announced that they won the lottery and they locked in number one pick, from the jump they were like, we're open to business. So there's been a lot of chatter. Will they trade the pick to Utah? Will Utah really make the grandfather offer? Give them the whole cash of picks and whatever players they want from them one pick. I guess we can kind of say after today's re-signing of Trae Young that I think we're both, or all three of us, even Jacob, is leaning towards the Wizards taking AJ as number one, Lawrence. And Jacob did say that the Wiz do need AJ as part of their future build. So, are you leaning AJ sticking at number one at the Wiz, and they're keeping this pick?
Yeah, I'm leaning them to keep him. I mean, I think didn't AJ DeBonza kind of say he wanted to be a Wizard?
He did say he wanted to be number one. I don't know if he said he wanted to be a Wizard. I don't know if he said
directly he wanted to be a Wizard.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whenever you say you want to be a number one, you're putting a lot on the plate, and I don't know. I kind of like him as a number one. I mean, you saw the entire BYU team was outside of the white boy they had. I don't remember his name. He kind of got hurt before the postseason started. But outside of those two, there wasn't a whole lot to be tuning into BYU basketball.
Yeah.
And for two players to basically take a team to the playoffs is pretty cool, pretty impressive. Now, is he going to be able to do similar things in NBA? Probably not, because it's much harder to do those things in the NBA. But I think it does put you on the correct path. It does put you kind of where you want to be. But I would say for now, I would just go AJ. I think it's a very easy. I don't know who would think it's not, but I think it is a very easy move to make. I mean, the guy doesn't seem to complain much. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people don't take that much stake too much into account, but I don't know. I feel like it would be nice to have a number one that just went out there and played every single day and you didn't have to worry about it. I think that sounds, incredibly, nice on the ears.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for me just because you locked in Trae. You don't need Darren Peterson at this point, and I don't think you play Darren Peterson off the ball. I don't, really like that fit for him. I think he needs to be on the ball, needs to control the pace. Not saying he needs to be James Harden and dribble, but he needs to be the guy initiating the offense. So I don't really see that fit for him in Washington. So I think unless the Jazz make a last minute huge offer that the Wiz can't refuse, I think AJ's going to number one, surround him with Trae. You got Alex Sarr there. Will Anthony Davis be there? Who knows? But at least you got some decent other young pieces. Like you still got Bilal, you still got Keyshawn George, who he's popping off too. He's another good young guy. You got Trae Johnson coming off the bench, 6 man, most likely. You got Bub still there. So uh, the Wiz got good pieces. I mean, and you got to think about it too. Like if they trade Anthony Davis, let's say they trade Anthony Davis tomorrow night and get even more draft capital, or maybe they get another good player or two in return. Like Lawrence, I really think the Wiz could probably be a playoff contender next year. I think AJ can start day one as rookie averaging. He can probably average 20 next year, no problem. 20 points per game next year. I think that's easy for him.
I kind of personally would be disappointed that the Wizards don't become the playoff team next year with Trae Young. I think just the addition of Trae Young in itself, well, maybe not a playoff team, but a play-in team, I think for sure. I do also believe that there's a lot of games towards the end of this season they could have won. They just simply didn't want to win them.
Yeah.
Because I think we're trying to, I wouldn't say backload, but we're trying to wait until we're good to start putting it all together.
Putting it all together.
And I also don't believe that that's very wrong to do either. I think that's pretty fine. I mean, you don't want to win too early because then you do all your winning when you don't have all the pieces you need, to sustain it. And no offense, but like there's probably some, teams in the NFL and the NBA and, hockey who could probably have learned that maybe if I just, didn't go balls to the wall at this particular time and I waited a moment, maybe we would be able to make a run 2 years from now, but we'll never know because you made the run a little bit too early. I kind of believe that with I kind of am believing that with the Spurs. I think maybe like 2 or 3 years from now, they'll have a little bit of a regression and, making that deep playoff run, 2 years into, what is it? Wemby's career, 3 years into Wemby's, 2 years into Wemby's career. Then you're going to have to pay him lots of money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think the problem is when you blossom too early, and then all these young guys, are shown and their talents are shown. The problem is the NBA is a cutthroat league, and everybody likes to spend way too much money on what ifs.
Well, what if he
is? But what if he is? But we don't need to live in what ifs. We could just wait until things are proven. But then when things are proven, people will definitely overspend, and then I don't know. I guess you kind of wish you'd rather have than didn't have.
Yeah, and then that's the thing. You wait too long, they're gonna come back with we want this number and it's way above what you can afford or want to pay or whatever the case is. So yeah, it's definitely a tough call sometimes. But what isn't a tough call is what else is going to happen in the top four. We pretty much know it's going to be. We're predicting AJ, then probably next is Darren Peterson. I think he's only met with the Wiz and Jazz, so he's probably going one or two, probably two. I don't see him falling to three, and then from there, Memphis might take Boozer, they might take Wilson, and then the Bulls will take whoever's left. I don't really see the Bulls taking anyone outside the top four. But at five, it really gets pretty interesting because then you got the next little group of guards here, like Wagler, Acuff Jr., Mikael Brown Jr., who's the other guy? The Nate Amont from Tennessee, right?
I believe so.
Anyone in that? Let's just say 3 through 10, who you think will probably be the best player or the player you would want the most, Lawrence, in that 3 through 10 range?
Give me 1 second. I have my guy. I don't know. Just I don't see. I'm gonna go to leagues, NBA.
Wagler, Acuff, Mikael Brown, Flemings, Nate Ament. You got the center.
Okay,
Mara.
so my only problem with Wagler is he's a freshman,
Yeah.
and he was so amazing as a freshman for Illinois. I feel like they would not have been able to make the run, and I would not the push that they had. But I do fear that he might be too young, and adding him to a team, unless I I have a lot of proven vets who are probably gonna like wheel him in and get him going.
Yeah,
You know,
make it
I
easy
don't know.
for him.
That's one of those things you probably fear adding too quickly. Um, what I will say right here is that Burries, that Arizona at number 11, that's a steal. You know, he's sitting outside the top 10, but you know, Arizona made a deep run. Arizona is known for screwing up early in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, this
Um,
is true.
and there was another guy for Arizona who also did a great job and went, had a great season. I think his name was like, oh, let me look it up real quick. Arizona.
He might be like a late second rounder. Is it this Koa Pete?
Koa Pete. That's also going to be one of those that's a great pickup. You know, whoever lands that, you're going to have a good time. Again, problem with him, freshman. Same thing with Burries, freshman. I don't know. It's always one of those things that's like hit or miss when you get college guys. And I kind of always want to steer away from like, going out and getting the freshmen too early on. I kind of wish, players would go back to the day of like, developing a little bit more or, putting a little bit more together. Um, I would say that I'm not a big fan of Peterson, the number one pick, mainly because if you're dealing with cramping problems and, being able to play night in, night out on a consistent basis,
Yeah.
bro, you only played like 32 games in a regular season in college. You got to play
You gotta play.
82, and like you're a rookie, so we're expecting you to play 82 games, and he's dealing with cramping problems, and you can call him a gifted scorer. There's plenty of nights when I watched him play for Kansas where he didn't look like a gifted scorer to me, and he was dealing with some injuries. I don't know. No offense to him, I'm just not a fan.
Mm.
I think AJ DeBonsa is a little bit better of a pick, and probably a little bit more proven, just based on his track record. He took BYU, not deep into the playoffs, but I think they won the first round. But he lost his running mate, right before the postseason.
Yeah. I'm kind of indifferent on Peterson, so I'm not going to say too much there, but I agree with everything you said. The cramping's a little bit of a weird thing for me. You got to be able to play 2 games or damn near close to that, especially you're a rookie. You're young. You can go out there and play 2 games, so a little concerning there. Out of the other guards, though, I'll say this again. I'm a Darius Acuff Jr. guy, so I will pick him in the top 4, but of course, the top 4 is the top 4, so next up, the Clippers. I know the Clippers have been linked to Acuff, but the Clippers also like Brown Jr. That's been gaining some steam lately. So I don't really know. After the fourth pick, it's really a mystery who these teams are going to pick. Then you got some teams trying to trade into the top 10. The Thunder. Ever since they got eliminated, the rumors, or even before, I think the rumors are coming out that Thunder wanted to get into the top 10. So I think they have 2 picks. I think they have like 12 and something else. So the Thunder, look for the Thunder to get in there and try to get into the top 10, probably land one of these guys. I think the Mavs want to come back into the lottery, not necessarily the top 10. So I don't know. We'll see what all happens. But yeah, I'm interested to see how the Wiz look after this trade or after this draft because yeah, Anthony Davis, keeping him is a big question mark. I wonder if they really will try to keep AD or move him draft night, get even another young guy or two. Who knows? But that's all I had, Lawrence. Anything else to go over? World Cup still going on. I think we're delayed right now. France and
Oh, they've restarted. It's
restarted.
in the 83rd
Okay.
minute. I don't know. This World Cup has been I would say quite the show. Personally, my wife and I were rooting for Ecuador. Probably one of the worst teams, currently, produce wise, product wise on the pitch, in the World Cup. I feel like there's a lot that they could have done in multiple games, they just haven't done in multiple games. Mainly, scoring the ball, mainly goals. I don't know any nicer way to say it. Is I don't know. They can't find a way to put the ball in the net, and that's kind of the entirety of the game is putting the ball in the net. But what I will say is, there's been some, I would say highlight teams, like Cape Verde. We should probably relook at that game yesterday with Cape Verde and Uruguay. Uruguay definitely gave up a PK in the final minutes to Cape Verde. And I'm sorry, but if it was backwards, if it was switched around and Cape Verde did that to Uruguay, they're calling that every time. Or they're at least reviewing it every time. They didn't even bat an eye. They just like, all right, let's keep it moving. This game was not supposed to be this close. Come on, the next game's about to start soon. I thought that was disgusting. A little disappointed in that one. Also, another team who's been very disappointing in this World Cup, Belgium. Draws ain't going to cut it.
Yeah.
Draws are not going to cut it. And then their striker, Doku, he decided that he's no longer going to be with the team anymore. He's going to go, witness the birth of his child with his wife back home in Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate it. The only thing I hate is you knew that she was about to pop the baby out during the World Cup. So you took a roster spot from somebody else that probably could have produced for the team, but instead you left after the first game. No, he left. He already put it out there. He left. He gone. And
he's out of there.
I don't know. I get it. I personally just think that if he knew that he was going to do that, he could have just waited another World Cup, because that's a spot that another striker could have been, and who knows what that other striker could have done for the team. The problem with Belgium is Lukaku's old. De Bruyne is old. One thing that Doku was supposed to add to the team for Belgium was youth, speed, things that they didn't have with the older guys, and he just left.
Up and left.
You spent all that time, preparing for the World Cup. I don't know. Just doesn't sit right. I think it's a little bit. I think it's just a little bit disrespectful to the teammates who, not the ones who are playing there. I would say it's to the teammates who, tried their ass off to make the team, didn't make it because he's supposed to be this blossoming talent, and then he just dips right before it all gets juicy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, been some good games. Shout out Team USA, another win versus Australia. So I'll give you my 2 cents. But there's been some good games. We still got another week. I think starting Thursday we got teams to be playing their third game. So another good week before we get into the round 64. Can't wait. But other than that, I got nothing else. Lawrence, anything else? Did we miss anything?
I don't know. We didn't really talk about the UFC fights that were coming on or that were coming up Saturday, and nor did I watch any of them outside of the final fight.
I ain't watching myself.
Which was Cape versus Hiraguchi, and let me tell you, he was losing pretty bad because Hiraguchi just wanted to cuddle and grapple the whole time, and he slipped out of a grapple, and then he did the most unheard of thing ever. When you slip out of a grapple, he just started punching the guy in the face.
Ooh.
And he won the fight that way. And I don't know, it was kind of like when Gaethje was beating up Topuria. It's like, bro, you got him on the ground, and then he put him in a quick headlock real quick, and I don't know, you could have just, kept punching him in the face real quick, and he probably would just pump it back down to the ground, and we would have called the fight. We would have said, all right, he lost, he's out. No, so this guy, he's getting grappled, he's getting cuddled with, and he decides, and the moment he gets a chance to get out of the cuddle, he just starts punching him in the head, like he's just wailing. We just going for it. Just screw it. If this guy controls me again, I'm screwed. And it worked. And I just don't understand how more guys don't do that. And I think the fight night coming up. Oh yeah, one more thing. We're talking about NASCAR real quick.
NASCAR.
So this most recent week they were racing in San Diego.
It was a road course, right?
Yeah, it was road course. They were doing it on a military base in San Diego. Mm-hmm. And, Shane Van Gisbergen is like this amazing road course driver, like one of the best road course drivers ever. She's so freaking good. And, all last year he won every single road course race. On FanDuel, he was a minus 250 favorite.
Ooh.
Now, I have never personally seen in my life a NASCAR driver negative money for the winner. Like normally the lowest odds driver is like plus 500 and like it goes up from there. Like maybe plus 450. I have never in my life seen minus 250. And the last road course they had, he was a minus 110. Now, unfortunately, he did win that. So he was a pick'em, and the rest of the field was a pick'em. So it was literally him or the rest of the field. This time, they didn't even do a pick'em. They said, this guy's a minus 250. Dude finished in 37th. He finished basically in last. It was about time. Now, this kid, Corey Heim, I don't know how good he is. He's only like 23 years old. He literally has been doing truck racing. He won the truck series last year. But honestly, he could have fooled me. He could have been pro for all I know because he put on a hell of a show. He had a strategy that nobody else had. The only other person who had that strategy was Kyle Larson. And somehow, when the race was getting towards the end, he was in second place and Kyle Larson was in fourth place. And, unfortunately for Tyler Reddick, he managed to finish all the way back in 25th because he blew a tire. But, I've never seen it in my life that a NASCAR driver was negative, and not like not like a little bit amount of negative, like a heavy negative.
Heavy favorite, yeah.
Craziness.
Well, I caught clips of it, but yeah, that's pretty weird for NASCAR. Something that's like pretty unpredictable, I guess, unless you, especially a road course too, I guess, right? Because it's like, I don't know, maybe because it's a road course and maybe the pole position doesn't change once from qualifying.
It's about whether or not they can qualify. So sometimes they run out of time and they can't qualify because things got delayed. So they do it based on last results.
Mm-hmm.
Or they do it based on most recent results. So how more recently you've been doing, which I'm completely fine for because, I don't think anyone, truly watches road
courses
qualifying anymore. I would say one thing they do have a problem with road courses is I don't know why they can't call cautions. Like that whole final lap, like there was 2 laps left. Tyler Reddick blew a tire, and he still had over 3/4 of the track to drive to get back to pit road. And they made Dude Man drive around the whole track to get to pit road and didn't call the caution. There was literally flakes of his tire coming off. He blew that thing. That thing was blown. And they still just never called the caution. So I don't know how all that works.
Yeah, me neither. That's a little weird. You think they would do that, or?
I just think they should at road courses because the most beautiful thing about a road course is when everyone gets bunched up, and then there's a few laps left, and everyone gets bunched up because people go for it and people wreck each other, and it's entertaining to watch someone spin somebody else out because somebody always has a retaliation later on or retaliation later.
They gotta get back, of course. Tight course, tight turns. Definitely some of the interesting races on the road courses. So definitely see that. I got nothing else, guys. So I think we will end on that. Episode 242, Silent Breed Podcast. Don't forget, Draft is tomorrow, NBA draft. Will your team have a selection? I don't know, but if they do, good luck with that. And we will see you in the next episode, guys. Peace.